The Tale of the Wicked Witch Baba Yaga. Once upon a time, there was a husband and wife who had a daughter. Then the husband was widowed. He suffered and suffered, and then married another wife. The evil stepmother hated the girl. She abused and scolded her, and only thought of how to finish her off. Then the father went to town on business, and the stepmother said to the girl, "Go visit my sister, your aunt, and ask her for a needle and thread. I want to sew a shirt for you." Her aunt was Baba Yaga with a bone leg. The girl didn't dare to say no, so she went, but first she visited her own aunt. "Hello, Auntie." "Hello, dear. Why are you here?" "My stepmother sent me to see her sister and ask for a needle and thread. She wants to make me a shirt." "It's very good, my niece, that you came to me first," said the aunt. "Here is a ribbon for you and some bread, butter and a piece of meat. If a birch offends you, tie the ribbon around it. If the gate creaks, slam it. It will hold you. Pour butter into the hinges. If dogs try to scare you, throw them some bread. If a cat tries to scratch you with its claws, you give it some meat." The girl thanked her aunt and went on her way. She walked and walked and finally reached the forest. In the forest is a hut built on thin legs, and in the hut sits Baba Yaga with her bone leg. She weaves a canvas. "Hello, Auntie."
"Hello, niece,"
Baba Yaga says.
"What do you want from me?"
"My stepmother sent me to ask you for a needle and thread to make a shirt for me."
"Okay, my dear. I will give you a needle and thread. In the meantime, you sit down and work a little."
So the little girl sat down near the window and began to weave. Then Baba Yaga went outside of the hut and said to her worker,
"I'm going to sleep now. You go and heat the bath and wash my niece. You better watch out and wash her well. When I wake up, I'll fry her and eat her."
When the girl heard these words, she was frightened. When Baba Yaga went to sleep, she started telling the worker, "My dear, you shouldn't put so much firewood in the oven. Fill up this much water. Carry the water in a sieve." And then she gave her her handkerchief. The worker heated the bath, and Baba Yaga woke up and went to the window and asked,
"Are you weaving, my niece? Are you weaving, dear?"
"I'm weaving, Auntie, weaving, dear." Baba Yaga went to bed again. The girl gave the cat some meat and asked, "My kitty brother, teach me how to run away from here." The cat said,
"Meow, on the table there's a towel and a comb. Take them and run quickly, otherwise Baba Yaga will eat you. Baba Yaga will chase after you. Put your ear to the ground. Meow. When you hear that she is close, drop the comb. A dense, dense forest will grow. While she gets through the forest, you will run far away. When you hear her chasing you again, throw down the towel. A deep, wide river will appear."
"Thank you, my kitty brother." She thanked the cat, then took the comb and the towel and ran. Dogs rushed after her and tried to bite, and she gave them bread. The dogs let her go. On the girl's way, she had to go through a gate, but it creaked. She wanted to slam it shut. So the girl poured butter into the hinges. The gates let her through. Then a birch rustled. It wanted to stop her with its branches. So the girl tied a ribbon around it. The birch let her pass. The girl ran away and kept running and running, not looking back. And then the cat sat down at the window and began to weave. Baba Yaga woke up and asked,
"Are you weaving, niece? Are you weaving, dear?"
And the cat answered her rudely,
"I'm weaving, aunt, I'm weaving, dear."
Baba Yaga rushed into the hut and saw that there was no girl, just the cat sitting and weaving. Baba Yaga began to scold the cat.
Oh, you old rascal. Oh, you villain. Why did you let the girl go? Why didn't you scratch her?
And the cat answered her,
Meow, I've been serving you for so many years, and you never even threw me a bone to gnaw. But she gave me meat.
Baba Yaga ran out of the hut and pounced on the dogs.
Why didn't you bite the girl?
The dog said to her, We've been serving you for so many years, and you never even threw us a burnt crust. She gave us real bread. Baba Yaga ran to the gate.
Why didn't you creak? Why didn't they squeal? Why did you let the girl out of the yard?
The gate said, We have been serving you for so many years, you never once oiled our hinges. She did not spare even butter for us. Baba Yaga jumped at the birch.
Why didn't you stop the girl with branches?
The birch answered her, I've been serving you for so many years, and you have never even tied a thread around me, and she gave me a beautiful ribbon. Baba Yaga then began to scold the worker.
Why didn't you wake me up? Why didn't you call me? Why did you release her?
The worker said, I have served you for so many years, and I have never heard a good word from you. She gave me a handkerchief and spoke very kind to me. Baba Yaga screamed and shouted and made noise. Then she sat in a stupor and then rushed off in pursuit. And the girl ran and then stopped. She put her ear to the ground and heard. The earth was trembling, shaking. Baba Yaga was chasing her. She was already very close. The girl got out the comb and threw it over her right shoulder. A forest started growing, dense and tall, and the roots of the trees went deep underground. And the tops of the trees touched the clouds. Baba Yaga came running and was stopped by the forest. She began gnawing and breaking the wood. She gnawed and broke branches and trees, and the girl kept running and running. A short or a long time passed, and the girl put her ear to the ground and heard the earth was trembling and shaking. Baba Yaga was chasing her again, and she was already very close. The girl took the towel and threw it over her right shoulder. At that moment, an overflowing river appeared, wide and deep, so deep. Baba Yaga jumped into the river and gritted her teeth in anger. She couldn't get across it. So she returned home. She gathered her bulls and drove them to the river.
Drink, my bulls. Drink the whole river to the bottom.
The bulls began to drink, but the water in the river did not decrease. Baba Yaga got very angry. She lay down on the shore and began to drink the water herself. She drank and drank and drank until she exploded, and the girl kept running and running. In the evening, the father returned home and asked his wife, "Where is my daughter?" And the stepmother said, "She went to see her aunt, to ask her for a needle and thread. Yes, something has delayed her." The father was worried. He wanted to go look for his daughter, and just then his daughter ran in out of breath. She couldn't breathe. "Where have you been, daughter?" "Oh, father, father," the girl answered. "Stepmother sent me to see her sister. Her sister is Baba Yaga with the bone leg. She wanted to eat me. I barely ran away from her." When her father heard all this, he got very angry at the evil stepmother, and he kicked her out of the house with a dirty broom. Since then, he began to live alone with his daughter, and life was good and things were calm. As you can see, my good kids, there will always be those who will give wise advice and will help those in trouble. And if you treat others with kindness and care, they will always be happy to help you. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and don't forget to share our fairy tales with your friends. Fairy tale, Hansel and Gretel.
Once upon a time, on the edge of an old forest in a small house, there lived a woodcutter with 2 children. The boy was named Hansel and the girl Gretel.
Soon, the woodcutter remarried, and a stepmother appeared in the house. The family was so poor that there wasn't even enough money for food. One evening, tossing and turning in bed from side to side, the woodcutter sighed and said, "I don't know what to do. What are we going to feed the children? We have nothing to eat ourselves." And the stepmother replies, "Let's take the children to the forest tomorrow morning. Make a fire, leave them there, and not come back. The children will never find their way home from the forest by themselves." The woodcutter sighed and sighed. He pitied the children, but in the end, he agreed with his wife. Only the children weren't asleep and heard everything. Gretel began to cry quietly, but Hansel didn't shed any tears and promised his sister he'd come up with something. When the grown-ups fell asleep, the boy slipped out of the house and filled his pockets full of small white pebbles. In the moonlight, they sparkled like pearls. Early in the morning, the stepmother woke up the children, and they all went to the forest together. As Hansel walked, he threw the pebbles out of his pocket one by one without anyone noticing. 10 steps, 1 pebble. In this way, the boy marked the whole path from home. Deep in the forest, the woodcutter made a fire and sat the kids down to bask in its warmth. Then he, along with the stepmom, went off to work. The children sat for a long time, waiting for their dad to come back until they fell asleep. And when they woke up, it was already night and the moon was shining. Hansel took his sister by the hand and went looking for the path home, marked by the pearly white pebbles in the moonlight. All night the children walked. And at dawn, they knocked on the door of their house. The stepmother got angry, but the father was very happy that his son and daughter returned. He felt very guilty for leaving them in the forest. But soon there was even less to eat in the house, and then the stepmother persuaded her husband to take the children even further into the forest and locked all the doors so that Hansel couldn't come up with anything again. The stepmother woke up the children very early and gave each a tiny slice of bread. On the way to the forest, Hansel crumbled the slice of bread in his pocket and threw the crumbs on the road without anyone noticing. In this way, they came to the very heart of the forest where none of them had ever been. Again, they made a fire. The stepmother and father left again, giving the kids strict orders to sit and wait for them to return. On a dark night, the children waited for the moon to appear, but they couldn't find a single crumb. Probably the birds had eaten them up during the day. What a pity that this time Hansel's plan didn't work. Do you remember what he used to mark the whole path the first time? Sugar, candy, white pebbles. That's right, you have a great memory. Of course, white pebbles which sparkled in the moonlight. Subscribe to our channel. There are many new fairy tales waiting for you. So, Hansel and Gretel simply went forward until they came to a small house. It was made entirely out of gingerbread. The windows were caramel and looked very yummy. Hansel was very hungry, so he immediately broke off a piece of gingerbread roof for himself, and Gretel a piece of the window.
Who's there?
The children didn't even notice that an old woman came out of the house, leaning on an old and crooked stick.
Come inside. Be my guests.
Yummy treats were waiting for the kids in the house. Milk and cookies. When they had eaten their fill, the old woman put them to bed in soft, clean beds. But Hansel and Gretel didn't know that this old woman was an evil witch, and she built the gingerbread house on purpose to catch small children. Early in the morning, as Hansel was sleeping sweetly, the witch grabbed him and locked him up in a cage. Then the wicked old woman woke up Gretel and ordered her to cook some food. Lots of food.
I want to fatten up your brother, and when he gets plump, I'll eat him.
She laughed viciously. Oh, how Gretel cried. But there was nothing she could do, and she had to do as the witch ordered. 4 weeks, the girl cooked food and fed her brother, until finally the old woman decided that it was enough.
Hey Gretel, come on lazybones, bring some water. I'm now going to roast your brother and eat him,
shouted the witch to the girl. Gretel brought water and large drops of tears rolled down her cheeks. When the witch had heated the oven, she called the girl once again.
Crawl inside and take a look if there's enough coal.
Gretel immediately realized that the old woman wanted to roast her along with her brother, so she pretended that she doesn't know where to look.
Stupid girl,
the old woman said angrily, went over to the oven and even stuck her head inside. Then Gretel pushed the witch from behind so that she immediately fell into the oven. The girl slammed the oven door shut. The witch howled terribly and dissolved into yellow sparks, as if she had never been. Gretel immediately ran and freed her brother. The children were so happy they jumped and hugged for joy, and since they now had no one to fear, they went into the witch's room, which she always kept firmly locked, and found there, no, not gingerbread, but chests full of pearls, gold and silver. Hansel and Gretel took as much treasure as they could carry and continued their journey through the forest again. Soon the forest began to seem more and more familiar to them, until, finally, they saw their father's house in the distance. The woodcutter cried for joy when he saw his son and daughter alive and well. He had kicked the mean stepmother out of the house a long time ago and was terribly sad that he had abandoned his kids in the forest. When Hansel and Gretel began taking gems out of their pockets, he was very surprised. After all, now they had something to buy food with, and the 3 of them began to live in joy and prosperity. That's how Hansel and Gretel defeated the evil witch. They didn't give up and fought hard. So don't forget, my little friends, a sharp mind, a quick wit and determination will always lead to success.